Alright, this is video number 12 in this series on fixed dose solfège, and this time we're going to continue with some examples in 3/4. We talked about the conducting pattern for that last time, and we're also going to get to a couple of examples in cut time for the first time, or 2/2. But first, as usual, we'll start by warming up with some syllable exercises from Dandelot's book in both treble and bass clef. So let's get to that. And this will be the first one we'll look at, number 24. This one concentrates on the interval of a sixth, and it might be a little bit more difficult in this one to find some groupings, but just go ahead and do your best. Don't worry if your accents aren't the same as mine. Again, we're going to be trying to put an accent on the first syllable of each group. So let's go ahead and read this one. I'll give you a count of 4 as usual, and go ahead and read with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, la, sol, mi, re, si, sol, mi, do, sol, mi, do, sol, mi, do, la, fa, re, si, sol, mi, do, la, fa, re, si, sol, mi, do, si, sol, si, re, fa, la, sol, mi, do, re, si, sol, re, mi, do, si, re, fa, la, si, sol, mi, re, si, sol, la, fa, re, la, sol, mi, la, do, la, fa, re, si, sol, si, do. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the next one, number 25. This one concentrates mostly on sevenths. And this one might also be difficult to find some groupings, but just do your best. Go ahead and write them in if you feel like it. If you don't, then don't. Let's go ahead and do this one. Looks like this. Okay, so I'll give you a count of 4 again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sol, fa, re, si, sol, fa, re, do, si, sol, mi, re, do, la, si, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, si, do, re, mi, fa, sol, si, re, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, do, si, sol, mi, la, fa, mi, re, do, si, sol, mi, sol, la, fa, mi, fa, sol, fa, re, mi, re, la, sol, si, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do. Gets a little bit tricky with all those leaps, a little bit harder than the ones we've had up to this point. Let's go ahead and look at an example in bass clef. And like number 24 in treble clef, this one concentrates on the interval of a sixth. Let's go ahead and do this one as well. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, la, sol, si, re, si, do, mi, fa, la, sol, mi, re, fa, do, mi, la, fa, re, si, sol, mi, do, sol, la, fa, do, la, sol, si, re, sol, mi, sol, si, re, sol, mi, do, la, fa, re, si, sol, fa, re, si, sol, do. And let's go ahead and move to number 25 in bass clef. This one also concentrates on the interval of a seventh. Let's go ahead and read this one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fa, sol, si, re, do, si, la, sol, mi, fa, re, mi, si, do, si, do, re, mi, fa, sol, do, re, la, si, sol, fa, re, si, sol, fa, re, do, si, do, re, do, si, do, sol, do. And if you're having some difficulty keeping up with my tempo on these, don't worry about it too much. Just practice a little bit slower. When you're reading with me, try to use the recovery method. It's useful to practice that as well. But let's leave it at that for syllable reading and move on to some Danhauser examples. We'll start where we left off, reading an example in 3/4. And it looks like this. It's going to be number 48. Let's go ahead and take a look at it and think about where you might anticipate having trouble. And think about where you might put in some grace notes. And I'll show you where I put them in. Put them in here. You can see basically in the first measure, I'm kind of filling in the gap between fa and la with a sol. In the third system, getting the fa from the mi grace note. And the last system, getting the re from the mi, kind of gap filling again. But like I always say, feel free to put them in where you want. If you don't feel like you need them, you don't necessarily have to do them, but it's kind of good to show that you can do it. So make sure to conduct with me on this one. You're not going to be able to see me, but remember your 3/4 pattern is going to be about like this. 1, 2, 3. And that's about the tempo we're going to do it at. So let's go ahead and do this one. So we're in C major, so let's do our warm-up. Do, mi, sol, la, fa, re, si, do. So first note's mi. Here we go. Give you 2 beats. Ready, and mi, fa, sol, la, sol, do. Mi, fa, la, sol, do. La, sol, la, sol, sol, fa, mi, re. Mi, fa, la, sol, do. Mi, fa, la, sol, do. La, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Mi, fa, sol, mi, sol, do, si, la, sol, fa, sol, mi, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, mi, sol, re, sol, mi, sol, re, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, do, mi, fa, la, sol, do, la, sol, sol, fa, mi, re. Mi, fa, la, sol, do. Mi, fa, la, sol, do. La, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which will be our last one in 3/4 for today. And it looks like this. We're going to take it just a hair slower. It's going to be 84 instead of 88. And of course, we're in C major again. Think about where you might have difficulties. There's some leaps in this one. And here's where I put in grace notes. Pretty standard stuff. Not too many. Alright, let's go ahead and do this one. First note's do. Don't forget to conduct. Ready, and do, mi, sol, do, si, la, si, do. Sol, la, sol, do, sol, fa, mi, sol, do, re. Do, mi, sol, do, si, do, re. Sol, la, si, do, mi, re. Do, si, la, sol, re. Do, si, la, sol. Si, la, sol, do. Re, mi, re, si, sol, fa, mi. Si, la, si, do, re, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi. Do, si, la. Re, do, si. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, sol, fa, mi, re. Do, mi, sol, do, si, la, si, do. Sol, la, sol. Do, mi, re, do, si, do. Mi, re, do, si, do. Mi, do, si, la, re, do, mi, re, si, do. Alright, as you can see, the grace notes get a little bit more difficult as the tempo increases. Let's go ahead and move on to the next time signature, which is cut time. And basically the conducting pattern for that is really easy. Mirroring you, so basically you're just going to go down and back up, down and back up, just like that. Always trying to come back to that same point when you come down and back up. Okay, let's go ahead and look at that first example. Looks like this. Let's go ahead and put in some grace notes to do some gap filling. And you can see that the half note's going to be 92, which is what we're conducting, of course. And I'm going to leave out the repeats on this one. Go ahead and do this with me and conduct. All right, since the first measure of this one consists of a whole rest, I'm just going to go ahead and start conducting in that one, and we're going to come in on sol in the second measure. So let's get that first sol. Do, mi, sol. Here we go. Ready, and sol, do, si, do, re, do, mi, re. Re, do, si, la, do, si, la, sol. Sol, do, si, la, do, si, do, re, do. Do, mi, do, si, la, do, re, do, si, do. And that's that one. Let's go ahead and move on to 52. So this one actually starts with 2 measures of rest. We'll go ahead and do that and come in on the third measure in the same way. Let's put some grace notes into this one. Just a couple of them in there. Alright, so 2 empty measures and we come in on do, 1, 2, 1, 2. Do, re, mi, do, si, do, re, mi, do, si, re, mi, do, re, si, la, sol. Sol, la, si, sol, do, re, mi, do, si, la, sol, fa, la, do, re, do, si, do, re, mi, do, si, la, do, si, re, do. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And we'll go ahead and finish with this one for this video. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Coming back to the beginning at the end, finishing the second system. Where would you think you might have some difficulties? All right, here's where I put in grace notes. A little bit of gap filling. Looks like pretty much all gap filling in this one. All right, let's go ahead and do it. So I'll give you a full measure this time. Give you 1, 2 count, and then we'll begin. Here we go. Ready, and do, mi, sol, la, do, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, re, do, mi, sol, la, do, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, sol, la, do, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, re, do, mi, sol, la, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So we'll just leave it at that for now. Next time we'll continue with some more exercises in cut time, also get to a couple in 2/4. But until then, happy sightseeing.